Father's Day, Baba Andy Swan of Machachi, no Awandi, Isha Machachi. Happy Father's Day, Baba Andy Swan of Machachi, no Awandi, Isha Machachi. Happy Father's Day, Baba Andy Swan of Machachi, no Awandi, Isha Machachi.
What's up everyone? What's up everyone? Welcome to the channel. My name is Ukukungwenya and I am your host. We are within. Welcome once again guys to the second episode of the single parenthood pandemic. Those who've watched the first episode will know it was just a background and me giving context into my situation, how I ended up being a single mother. And on the last part of the first episode, I had written on the description the topics of discussion. And the first on the list was Mother's Day / Father's Day as a trigger to single parents. I wanted us to start with that topic because it's fairly new. Father's Day was just the other day. And social media was, buzzing around the topic. Because we as single mothers want to be given credit for playing both roles in our children's lives, right? So for me personally, Father's Day is definitely a trigger for many reasons, and I'll share those reasons as the episode goes on. But first, I want us to look into statistics, right? Because according to the Human Science Research Council, along with the South African Race Relations Institute, they state that more than 60% of South African women are single parents, whereas compared to just less than 20% of South African fathers are single parents, right? So with that stats alone, you can really understand why deadbeat dads trend on Father's Day, because they are the majority compared to deadbeat mothers who are a minority, right? So on Mother's Day, deadbeat mothers will not trend because there's not a lot of them, right? So out of that 60%, it is said that 51% are not even able to easily afford household expenses. So I mean, with that information alone, you could tell that deadbeat fathers is definitely going to trend, right? Mothers would definitely want to be given credit for playing both roles in their children's lives, right? My issue with this whole thing of people catching feelings if we decide to celebrate the day is because we are not invalidating anyone's feelings, right? For me, for instance, on Father's Day, I will call my dad, I will send a message, I will buy a gift if I can, right? Because he's my father, he's been there for me, he raised me, right? But in the same breath, I will feel some type of way because I am raising a kid alone. The person who I made the kid with is not there. So I'm allowed to feel emotional on that day because I'm reminded that I had a kid with an idiot, right? That I was one of the unfortunate ones to raise a kid alone, right? So guys, the whole single parent issue is so sensitive, guys, because raising a child is so expensive. Like, imagine raising a kid alone and you have to take on all of the responsibility, and then you get people who tell you you cannot celebrate or you cannot mope around on Father's Day because you're reminded of the sacrifices that you've made because you have been forced to raise a kid alone, right? It's the same as it's the same as having a funeral and a wedding in one street, right? Both these events are supposed to happen, right? And the people in those events will feel different emotions. The people at the funeral will feel sad, they'll cry and whatnot. The people at the wedding will rejoice because it's a joyous celebration, right? So both of them are allowed to feel those emotions separately. Same as with us. If you have a parent or a dad, a mom who's been present in your life, granted, no one is saying do not celebrate that person, right? It's going to be different for everyone. Like if I don't have a present dad or a present mom, I'm not going to feel the need to celebrate because that person was not there. And also the reasons for the person for that person not to be there are different. Some people, their parents passed away, mom or dad passed on, right? Some of them, the mother is absent. Some of them, the father is absent, right? So their feelings at that moment, depending on their situations, are valid. So let us stop invalidating other people's feelings because we are sitting at a place of privilege at that time, right? It goes beyond me beating myself up for having a kid with an idiot. It, like the other day I was speaking to someone and it's something that I had not thought of up until they mentioned it. This person was asking me, so what happens at Ratnang school when it's Father's Day? Do they ask them all to write down cards to their fathers and stuff like? I've never thought of that, right? And for me, my issue now is Ratnang is at school and everyone is writing cards to their dads who are present in their lives, and he has never had a father figure, right? So what does that do to her? As young as she is, she's 3, but at some point, at some point she's gonna grow up and understand, the whole Father's Day, Mother's Day issue. What am I gonna tell her, right? So those emotions are the ones we experience on that day, because when you go out, the shops, there's Father's Day gift cards, there's on TV, there's adverts on Father's Day, and you are reminded that there are actually fathers who are there for their kids. And I'm just the unfortunate one who was given a deadbeat father. Do you understand what I mean? So it goes, you start thinking of issues that come with raising a kid alone. You start thinking of research telling you that children who grow up without fathers are high risk in terms of behavioral problems. And I mean, it's a lot, guys. It's really a lot. And I think if you're not in that situation, you will never understand. And if you could ask a single father how they feel on Mother's Day because the mother of the child is a deadbeat, they will tell you the exact same emotions that we are going through as single mothers. So let us not invalidate other people's feelings because we do not understand the situation that they're in, because we are not faced with that situation at that moment, right? So I wrote down some few things, guys. I wrote down some few important points. About research that has been conducted by the National Fatherhood Initiative, which say that children with absent fathers are more likely to have behavioral problems, right? They are 4 times more likely to live in poverty. They are more likely to be in prison, and they are twice as likely to be school dropouts. So guys, when you think of Father's Day and you think of all these problems that come with being a single parent, like, you are bound to be triggered. Honestly, you are bound to be triggered. And I'm not saying that all the kids who are raised by single mothers will turn out to be, troublesome kids. Some of them really do turn out to be good people in society, right? But the emotional scars, right? They are forever there. They're forever there. And contrary to this fact by the National Fatherhood Initiative, there was research conducted by Jacob and Andrews in 2021, and their research topic was disrupting patriarchal perceptions of single mother families. And they say that not all single mother families or single father families are, inherently deficient or dysfunctional. Some of them do turn out good. Like, if there's a good support system from the mother, good support system from the family, the child has a high chance of, turning out to be a good person in society, right? And sometimes it goes beyond wanting the father to be there financially. You want assistance in terms of homework for the kids, right? When the kid comes back from school and they have homework, you need assistance in that regard. And on the same research by Andrew and Jacob, they say most kids that were participant in the research study had stated that it goes beyond just financial support and emotional support. Some kids just want their existence to be acknowledged by their fathers. That's it. Because, the problem is society has instilled this two-parent household phenomenon in everyone's mind, that being a single parent seems unconventional, or being raised by a single parent seems so wrong, right? That's why you get kids asking themselves, what was so wrong with me for my dad to leave me, right? What was so wrong with me for my dad's family not to want me? So it's very deep, guys. It's a deep discussion, and it cuts so deep you don't even understand. I have a friend who was raised by her grandmother. Her mother passed on when she was young, and she did not know her dad up until later, at a later stage in her life. So I invited her to the channel, and I had an interview with her, just to, understand the long-term effects of growing up without a father, and just to understand the coping mechanism that are needed, and what are the early intervention processes that we can follow, to make sure that the young ones do not experience those long-term scars. Like, what can we do, to combat, to make life easier for our kids growing up into a society that idealizes, two-parent households. I want her to explain to us what impact did growing up without a father have on her. And also, after that, I have also invited a colleague of mine who is well informed in terms of research, in terms of, different kinds of studies, and in terms of experience working in different communities, right? Just for him to give us a professional opinion on how do we deal with these triggers that we're talking about. How do we help our kids deal with these triggers? So stay tuned, and I am going to encourage you guys to comment, give us your perspective, give us your experiences, give us your coping mechanism, so that we support each other in the struggle, because it is real, guys, and it's very deep, like I said. So before I get into what can be done from my side, what do I think can be done to combat the issue, let's first hear from the friend, and then from there onwards my colleague, and then I'll give you guys my perception or my solutions or my recommendations on the situation. But guys, let us not forget that it takes a lot to be a single mother or to be a single father. It takes a lot because there are a lot of issues pertaining to single parents. When your kid is sick and you're the only parent and you only have so much leave days for family responsibility, you start thinking, how different would life be if you had a supportive father, right? And once your leave days are over, the dad can take leave for family responsibility. So it's those kind of things that make you think, shit, being a single mother is just, it's too much work, right? And I feel like we deserve like a single parents day, just to give ourselves a pat on the back. It's celebrated in America. It's an actual day where single parents come together and discuss their proud moments, their weak moments, their successes, how they overcome their challenges. It's literally a day that was petitioned by a lady called Eunice. She came together with other single parents and other corporates, to make people realize that single parents deserve to be honored, because they hold it down. And they make sacrifices, to make sure that their kids grow up into respectable men and women in society. So it should be a day. And here in South Africa, I read somewhere that last year there was a lady who planned a single parents event. Like, we should have those events. Because we need the support. I cannot stress how much we need the support, guys, when it comes to, the issue of single parents. We do, because we go through a lot. And sometimes we pretend as if we have it all together, and we don't. But we have to, because of our kids. Right? We have to, because of our kids. So I just want to say, we're not saying present dads should not be celebrated. If you're a present dad, your family will celebrate you. Your kids will celebrate you. The mother of your kids will celebrate you. You guys will go out and celebrate. It's okay. Like, if your kids are celebrating you or your family is celebrating, why do you have an issue with now women who are doing 100% of the job of being a parent is celebrating herself? We are not invalidating anyone. We're just saying, for that day, I deserve to pat myself on the back for being there, for taking 100% of the responsibility and the accountability of being a parent to the child. So can we try and look at the situation from a different perspective, and not only as single mothers being entitled to celebrate the day. I'm going to celebrate that day because I'm the only one who understands and who has experienced, the heartache that comes with being a single parent. And until you are in that situation, do not have an opinion. Do not have an opinion. Because it's the same people who go out on social media and say, oh no, it's your fault that you chose a dead. It's my fault that I chose a deadbeat. Do you even that statement alone? It's just crazy, because who goes out of their way and chooses a deadbeat dad to be a father to their kid? No one, because the men, guys, men are not marked. Men are disingenuous. Men are ostentatious, and there's no way of knowing for certain that this person will be a present father. Worse, if that person does not have a kid. It's better if you have a kid with someone who has a kid, because you can tell from how they do things with their first kid. Uguti, is this person going to be present in my child's life, right? Even then, you cannot be 100% sure, because they can switch on you. They can be present on the firstborn's life, and they can be absent on your kid's life, right? So men are not marked. Even if you could say, yeah, the reason why you guys are single parents is because you have kids before marriage. It's ridiculous, because even married people are single parents within their marriage. People who got married and had kids but divorced are single parents. So guys, there's no formula. So people should just stop thinking, Uguti, you can just pick baby dad and say, yeah, this one is going to be present, that one is not going to be present. You will never know, because men are pretentious. They can pretend for years. And when the time comes for them to show up, they don't. You find out that he's not the person he's been pretending to be the whole 3 years. So this whole thing of saying you have a choice is just basically people who have not experienced life at its fullest form. And those are the same people who, when now they are experiencing the same situation that we are talking about, will be quiet and they will suffer in silence because of what they said previously. Now they can't come out and say, you guys were right. They can't come out and say, you guys were right. So let us be respectful, guys, of people's situations. Let us, be supportive of people who go through a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. But now, let's hear from Unonsigele Lonkomo. Okay, guys. I had mentioned previously that I'm going to have an interview with Unonsigele, but unfortunately, she's not available. She's not feeling well, and she's not herself. But promise you, once she's back to her old self, I will upload the full interview. But for now, my prayers go out to her, and hopefully she makes a speedy full recovery. But I do have another friend of mine who was raised by a single mother, Ukhanyisile Ngcobo. So let's hear from her, and then we'll hear from Usiphose Nkosi Ndlovu.